All right, guys, we're back. I told you I'd be right. Right on. And here I am. So let's get right into this because we got a lot to talk about. So comment, let me know where you're watching from, and we will get started here in just a second. I did a live video update just a minute ago, kind of letting everybody know, what was fixing to take place over the next couple hours. But now they've officially issued a new severe thunderstorm warning that does include northern Van Buren County, and then we've got Searcy County. So let me know where you're tuning in from, and we're gonna get right into this here in just a second. I think the live chat's working. Yeah, live chat's working. Perfect. All right, guys. So let's get into this because we've got a lot to talk about. So here's what we got. We've got a very strong thunderstorm that is over Searcy County right now. I think we've got very heavy rain. I think we've got a lot of lightning and maybe even some very small hail over towards St. Joe. That's going to be moving off to the northeast. But I think the focus is going to be on this line that's going to be moving in over the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. Let's take a look. Let's go ahead. We're going to go and pull up our Marshall Skycam because I want to take a look at this. There was a lot of lightning, and the lightning appears to be on the increase. So, if you're in Marshall right now, you're probably hearing that thunder. If you go outside, you're probably seeing the lightning too. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning. This includes practically all of Searcy County, as well as northern Van Buren County. So let's get into this because, like I said, there's a lot to talk about. The good news is I do think the overall tornado threat in terms of a long track tornado is going down, but I think the threat for a quick spin up tornado is certainly still there. And so that is one thing that I will be watching very closely. So again, we got a lot of people tuning in here, and we got Tilly, Formosa, Cozy Home, Botkenberg, Snowball, 110, Clinton, Oxley, B Branch, Crabtree, Snowball. Got a lot of people in here. Love it. Awesome, guys. All right, so let's get into this. And I know I've said that a couple different times, but now we're really going to get into it. All right, so I think there's a strong thunderstorm developing with very heavy rain over Marshall right now. You see there's some lightning, not a lot compared to this amount of lightning, but there's still some strikes. So I assume if you're in Marshall, you're probably getting some heavy rain, and there may be even some small hail, and I mean very small hail, just south of Marshall, according to what we're seeing right now. This is moving off to the northeast. There is that severe thunderstorm warning. This does include St. Joe, Gilbert, Harriet, Rock Springs, Big Flat, Marshall, Leslie, Snowball, Witt Springs, down to Denard. This does not include Clinton. It's on the very edge of Clinton, but I would not be surprised, if this holds together and they extend this and Clinton would be in it. But if you zoom right in, it's on the very edge of Clinton. And then we've got Scotland, who is in that severe thunderstorm warning. So, where is the storm itself right now, or the strongest part? I would say Fort Douglas down to Clarksville, Scranton, Knoxville, Mount Judy. Those areas, I think that's the strongest part of this storm. KNWA is still live. So, if there's other areas in their coverage area, they're live right now. So, there's a live stream I shared just a few minutes ago. But if you're in Clarksville, if you're in Dover, this is right on the doorstep of Dover. And if we look at our wind gust here, you can see, and there's a few areas, like I said, we got to watch for those quick spin ups. But right now, I don't see anything. Now, got to watch maybe over towards the Fort Douglas area. But, the threat, I'm not seeing anything that looks real concerning at this point with any kind of quick spin up, but it's something we're going to continue to watch. I'm going to go ahead and mute this real fast because I'm hearing Facebook chiming in. Let's go to Slack here, and we're going to see that's the NWS chat. So let's look at NWS chat and see what they're saying. Going downstream on the northern portion of the line, yeah, with severe thunderstorm warning. Okay. Yeah. They said areas this will kind of capture where our wind threat will be. And I think that is what we're going to have to watch for. Now, we're not getting the greatest radar scan up here. But I think if I switch to Fort Smith, I will get a better one because it seems to be. But just look at that lightning, guys. Look at that line of lightning. I mean, that is intense. So if we look at our velocity, yeah, that's giving us a better idea. That's going to be some very strong wind gust in Newton County right now, just past Jasper, headed towards Pope County, Yale County. Just look at that wind gust on the leading edge of that. That's 60-mile-an-hour wind gust with this line, and that's moving off to the east. So technically, the strongest part of this storm is not over Searcy County or Van Buren County right now, but it is moving to the east. Yellville, Lead Hill area. Watch this storm close. I know right now you guys have a fairly strong storm over you right now. Maybe 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts are associated with this particular storm, and definitely a lot of lightning too. But I think if you're looking and comparing, I certainly think that the strongest storm is between Newton and Johnson County right now. That is what looks to be the strongest area. And if we take a look at our rotation, I'm not seeing anything. I think this is mainly just a damaging wind event, according to what I'm seeing right now on the latest guidance. But let's go back to Little Rock Radar. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning. I think that's a smart move. So now we've got another line of severe storms developing here. So Danville down to Centerville, over to Casa, I believe I'm saying that right. Morrilton, Hattieville, Springfield, Jerusalem, those areas are now in a new severe thunderstorm warning. This does include practically almost all of Conway County is now impacted with this or included. So you've got the northern part of Van Buren County, which technically now Formosa was not in the severe thunderstorm warning, but now they are because of this second warning. It's just, I'm telling you guys, it's a very strong line that is moving east. And we're going to get a better radar scan on this, especially as it gets closer to Van Buren County. But what I can tell you is there's 60-mile-an-hour wind gust embedded with the storm. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, they're going with 60-mile-an-hour wind gust associated with this particular storm. So, and I think that's I agree with that 100%. I don't see any areas, that's a bad radar read, 100%. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. We're getting really bad radar reads, and you can look at that and you'd be like, wow, that's a lot of rotation. And in reality, no, it's not any rotation. If I was looking for that area, I would be watching the Fort Smith area very closely, the Fort Smith radar, that is. But in terms of our area, I'm going to specifically look at the Little Rock radar side. So, I mean, yeah, I'm watching that Fort Douglas area, but I just still think that's a bad radar read. Um, Let me check one thing here real fast, just to be on the safe side with this. Looks like we got another severe thunderstorm warning for some area here. I just want to verify that Fort Douglas just to make sure. And I know it's raining here at the Weather Center. I can hear it. But that's not the main line. That's not the main thunderstorm line that we're watching. Yeah, I think this is, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I think this is turning more into a damaging wind event versus tornado threat. I certainly think the tornado threat is decreasing. It's not zero, but it's definitely decreasing some. So Johnson, this is on the doorstep of Pope County. I think Johnson's being impacted right now over towards Newton County. And I'm serious, just look at that lightning. If we go on the sky cam, I bet that sky cam is just lit up from the lightning. And this is moving to the east. And I think this is what's going to be really strong. And that's what I'm watching, is this line right here. And so let me see if I can grab an arrow real quick. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little hard to see that. But, all right. So you've got a very strong line of thunderstorms. And I think some of this could be, let's see what the NWS says here in just a second. But I think some of this is more outflow dominant. But it appears that, yeah, it definitely appears that this storm structure is still very solid, very strong, and it's going to be moving to the east. And I think it certainly still supports 60-mile-per-hour wind gust with this. And it's hard to see that because, and if you look at it, you might be like, oh, well, that's not very bright. Well, again, it's bad radar reads, and so that makes the job really tough with identifying this. But what I can tell you is looking at, and I just pulled this up on a second product, looking at from the Fort Smith, which let me go back to that. Hang on. I'll go to Fort Smith again and see right there. That's giving us a better idea. You see where that strong wind gusts are? It's moving over Newton County right now. It is starting to get closer to Searcy County, and I think 60-mile-an-hour wind gust is certainly possible where you get your wind damage. So we're gonna have to watch this very closely as this moves east and impacts our area. But what I can tell you is, regardless of the wind, a lot of lightning, maybe even some small hail. But I think lightning and heavy rain is the primary threat other than the wind threat. And then you also have, the chance of a isolated spin up tornado. But I really think personally, this is mainly just a damaging wind event. At least that's the way it looks right now. Could change, but all right. So let's continue to watch this. We're going to go to Marshall camera. Let's take a look and let's see what kind of lightning we're dealing with in the area. And this is Marshall, live look here. And I'm going to go ahead and yeah, lightning's definitely on the increase here, guys. I'm going to turn the camera just a tad bit to face towards the leading edge of this storm. Ooh, did y'all see that lightning right there? That was pretty intense. So we're moving the camera just a tad bit here to catch maybe more of the storm structure. It is dark, so it's hard to see right now. What we're relying on specifically is lightning. We have to rely on lightning to see this. And I just got a message about Harriet. Strong thunderstorm here. But I think the severe weather threat, or the severe part of the storm, is actually off to the west. But I certainly think heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds with this, moving east. So I think the strongest part in Searcy County right now would definitely be the Harriet area. But I personally think that the strongest part of the storm itself is still off to our west and is going to be moving east in the next, I would say, hour or so. So this is the main line. This is the line that we've been watching over the last several hours. This is the line that impacted Fayetteville earlier. And so you see, and the line just continues. I mean, look at all these severe thunderstorm warnings here. You've got severe thunderstorm warning for Newton, down to Johnson, down to, Logan, and then off towards Scott, and then Polk, and then the line continues. I mean, and just look at how much lightning. It is crazy. Somebody just commented and said, I'm getting a lightning show here in Harriet. Thank you for that report. Let's go ahead and put the Skycam on the screen. So now we've got Skycam overlaid with the radar. And I think what you're seeing from the Harriet storm is a storm up towards Yellville and Flippin area. That's a strong thunderstorm. There is that significant weather advisory for it. And let's see. So they're actually going with 50 to 50-mile-an-hour wind gust associated with this particular storm in Marion over towards Baxter County. I could turn that camera and I could face towards that area and probably could see that lightning that you're seeing. But I've got it positioned to the west because I want to see when this main line moves through here. Ooh, did y'all see that? That was a pretty intense lightning strike right there. And I know last night we had a lot of lightning, but I think tonight is going to be pretty electrified. No pun intended here. So what are we looking at overall in the atmosphere? Well, let's go real fast. Take a look. There's your severe thunderstorm warning. your what we would call significant tornado parameters. You see is higher down towards Waldron to Boonville. And so when you look up towards our direction, that's why I think the tornado threat overall may be decreasing for our area some. But I still think there's a threat for a quick spin up isolated tornado. I think that is still present. But I think our main focus is going to be damaging wind gust. I'm looking at the wind shear. And if we go back to storm fuel, there's still, I mean, we're losing fuel in Searcy County, but there's enough. There's enough storm fuel here that I think could certainly continue to support this storm and continue to allow it to be severe. I mean, just look at the dew points. I mean, you're still 73-degree dew point in Clinton with a temperature of 77. So you've still got plenty of moisture return to support severe weather. Let's go back to Skyscan Doppler here. And you got a little bit of a hail core developing, about half-inch hail right there to the north of Mount Judy. This is moving off to the east. And this is what I'm talking about. It's going to be when this line pushes through. I think that's when we're going to get the wind potential, which I think certainly 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are certainly possible with the storm. So if you're just joining us, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for practically all of Searcy County and then the northern part of Van Buren County. It technically does not include Clinton, but that's going to change. And it does include Scotland, Botkenberg, Denard. Shirley's not in it. Fairfield Bay, Morganton's not in it. But Chimes, like I said, Denard's involved. Severe thunderstorm warning does include Whit Springs, Snowball, Leslie, Marshall, Harriet, Big Flat. Technically, you're not in it, but it's something we're going to be watching. And we've got St. Joe, Gilbert, over to Western Grove. So those areas are impacted in the severe thunderstorm warning. It's moving off to the east. And it's, again, we're going to be watching this very closely. Okay, now we're getting a better... No, we're still on Fort Smith. Thought we had a better read. Let's go Little Rock. Let's see what Little Rock radar sites. We might be starting to get some better data in. We're starting to. Slowly. Slowly. And I mean very slowly. I can at least make out some of the velocity scans. Like this looks okay over towards Dover. But it's still kind of rough there. And the reason for it is the beam. It's going... It goes up. And as it goes up, that's where you get major bad radar reads, especially the further you get. So when we're looking at the storm, we're looking at about, let's see, almost 6,000 feet. So in elevation, that beam is going up. And a lot of times storms happen underneath the radar beam. And so, that's why it's so important that we have storm spotters, we have the Skycam, things like that, because it lets us see what the radar is not able to see. So let's continue to watch this very closely. Like I said, all eyes are on this storm as it moves east. And if you're just joining us, I think things are going to start to really pick up in intensity in Searcy County in the next, I'd say, 25 to 30 minutes. And maybe even quicker than that, because this line is definitely moving east. I think we got more people that's probably going to be tuning into this broadcast. Reports would be great, but stay safe. Like if it's lightning at your house, let me know. Heavy rain at your house, let me know. If you're getting hail, let me know. Again, I think the hail threat, while there is one, I don't think it's as strong as the damaging wind gust threat. I think that threat is the primary threat. And regardless of the wind with this, there's going to be a lot of heavy rain, and this rain is going to continue. I mean, look, we're raining in Madison County right now. Newton County still dealing with a severe storm. It's moving east, but I think they're going to continue to get heavy rain over the next little while. So we're continuing to watch this very closely. And here's what you got. Marion County, anybody in Marion County? I know somebody was asking earlier for Yellville. Still, strong storm there. We got lightning and rain in Cozy Home, Big Flat. Thank you for that report. Yeah, that's a pretty strong storm there. But again, I think the severe threat, or the part of the storm that is severe, I think is still off to our west. And so I think it's definitely going to increase there. We've got watching for Marshall, raining here. Thank you for that report. Lightning in the Baker area, 74 east of Marshall. Thank you for that report. Um, the lightning, I will tell you guys, for anyone that's sending in lightning reports here, fully anticipate the lightning to increase. Just expect that, especially as this moves east. We're talking Mount Judy down to Lurton, Fort Douglas, Knoxville, those areas. A lot of lightning with this as it continues to trend east. So, again, regardless of the damaging wind risk with this, there is definitely, um, yeah, there's definitely a lot of wind potential with this. We got very heavy rain and wind in Morning Star. Thank you for that report. Watching from B Branch. Welcome, guys. It's raining strong winds and Marshall lightning. Yeah. But again, I think the strongest part of this storm is still off to our west. So that's going to be moving to the east. So I don't think it's over. Now, St. Joe's probably it's probably storming pretty good right now in St. Joe. But I personally think that things are going to pick up in intensity over the next little bit. So let's see. We've got I live in Botkenberg. Do I need to get into the storm cellar? Is going to be safe enough to remain in the house? Great question, Jim. Right now, I don't think there's a need to get into the safe room unless you just feel concerned. But here's something to note. I certainly think 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are certainly possible with this. So I'm not sure, what type of house you live in. If you live in some kind of a mobile home, yes, I think it would be a good idea just to kind of take your safe location, go to a shelter to be safe. But if you're in a very solid house with a great foundation, then I personally think you'll be okay. Just keep an eye on the weather. But now, if we get some kind of a quick spin up, which again is certainly possible, then be ready to take cover. But right now, I don't see anything that would indicate that. I see wind. I see very heavy, strong winds starting to move into Searcy County. I think we'll start seeing an uptick in reports that we get, especially people in Searcy County and Van Buren County. Right now, pretty calm in Van Buren. Searcy County, there's a few locations that are getting some heavy rain and some lightning and maybe even some, a little wind there. But I personally, again, and I've said this multiple times because I'm wanting people to understand the strongest part of the storm is still west of our area moving east. So we will definitely see an uptick in lightning here in just a few moments on that sky cam. Can almost guarantee you that. I'm looking at mesoanalysis data again. We've still got storm fuel. We are losing some storm fuel though for Searcy County. So that's good news. That's good news. But I think that we've got enough to maintain strength with this storm. So I don't see it kind of dying down. And that's why I certainly think there's still the chance of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are certainly possible with the storm. And you got to think, we're getting those bad radar reads. We're looking at the storm almost 6,000 feet up in the air. So, you got to think about this. It just because we're seeing, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust on radar doesn't mean it's making it to the ground. But you also have to understand, though, that given that there's bad radar reads, we're having to look at a radar in Fort Smith that can give us a better look at it, but it's even higher. So it's possible that if the storm or, there can be things that take place underneath the radar beam, and that's why it's so important that we get these reports because we understand what's going on. Your reports matter so much to us because we can see those and we're able to understand, hey, what it's doing. So what I can tell you is the new mesoanalysis data, and let me show you this real quick, is showing us right here, and this is really cool. This is really neat to see. But we see that it's actually, you may say, well, wait a minute. I thought there was storm fuel over Harrison. Nope, not anymore. And you may say, well, is there storm fuel over St. Joe? This tells me that the storm that we're watching right now is taking advantage of the storm fuel. And so that is interesting to see. You don't see that a lot. What that also tells me is will the storm continue to maintain strength is what I'm trying to say. And I think it definitely will. But that boundary maybe things may be starting to become outflow dominant. And if that happens, then the storms will start to weaken some. But I certainly think we've still got enough storm fuel to support. And especially as you go south here towards like Glenwood, Nashville, Hot Springs, still got the support. See, we're starting to see an increase in significant tornado parameters increasing over here just south of Danville. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning there right now. With those tornado probabilities increasing, I would not be surprised if something starts to try to rotate in that area. For us, it does look like for Searcy County, Van Buren County, the way things are trending right now, the tornado threat is certainly becoming lower. So let's continue to watch this. Hi, guys, I'm still here. Just analyzing something real quick. Let's go to our Skyscan Doppler here for a second. Um, I want to see. I want to see something. So, there's something, but that could just be a bad radar read. So just hang on. Let me look at another product real quick. But I will tell you, I am personally watching a storm that is west of Hector right now. And I'll just throw that out there right now. It is becoming balanced. It is becoming balanced. And because it's becoming balanced, um, checking a couple things here, guys. Uh, we might need to watch the Hector area a little bit closer. Um, it's not defined, but it's certainly just to the north of Scottsville. If you know anybody in Scottsville, there's a strong thunderstorm. It is severe warned. I'm curious to see what the NWS thinks about this. Again, it could be a bad radar read. I do see something though on the Fort Smith radar site because that's what I switched to on my phone just a second ago. And then I also was looking, and we're looking at Little Rock right now. Again, it could just be a bad radar read, but when you look at the rotation tracker, it's definitely lining up a little bit to the north of Scottsville. So let's watch this because regardless of what happens with this is going to be impacting Van Buren County 100%. And potentially Searcy County too. So I'm just curious to see what happens. We're gonna stay on this for a minute. Searcy County, this is starting to enter. I think we're starting to see an increase in winds. I think we'll start getting reports snowball to Whit Springs and increase of winds. Yeah, let's watch this Hector storm. It's got my attention just a little bit. Everything else looks okay, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, now it's faded away. Yeah, now it's faded away. So that's good. That's good. But it definitely to the north of Scottsville, there was some rotation with this. But on the newest scan, looks like it has weakened some. So that's good news. So let's go back. I think it's storming. I think the storms are fixing to really increase. Snowball, Whit Springs, St. Joe, Gilbert. Those areas, I think it's fixing to really intensify. So just be prepared for that. We've got the Skycam pointed right at this storm. And so as lightning increases, we're going to see it on the camera. Oh, wow. Simone says, was on the phone with my niece when the storm hit Huntsville. As far as I know, she just got a lot of debris. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, that got pretty intense quickly. We're definitely going to have to watch this line a little bit closer for quick spin up potential. Because, you know, there's just a few areas that are kind of what's called kinking a little bit. Got little kinks in the line. And, when I look at that, I think, okay, it may just be a bad radar read, but if storms do have a little kink to them, uh, and they're balanced, which these appear to be balanced, or at least are working to become balanced, um, then the threat for a quick spin up tornado is certainly possible. Is that what took place here? It's hard to tell, but I do think the storm itself was rotating. I don't think it's rotating now, but it was. There was some broad rotation there. Enrot lit up. But see, this tells me, this is more of a damaging wind risk versus any kind of tornado threat. But this is moving east. We're going to have to watch this. Um, we've got enough storm fuel right now. So let's just see what happens. I really think thunderstorms are really fixing to pick up in the Searcy County area as well as over towards Van Buren County. There is that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. I just wonder? No, they didn't do any tornado possible tag. No. Okay. I just make sure they didn't do a tornado possible tag on it. They didn't. Yeah, that's moving off to the east. And I mean, this is going to be heading towards Van Buren County, Searcy County. Again, I cannot say this enough. I think things are really fixing to crank up in Searcy County. Van Buren County, it's coming. Just give it a little bit of time, but it's definitely will start to see an uptick. How's storm fuel looking for Faulkner County? Let's look at that real quick. Okay, hang on 1 second, Greg. Give me just a second. NWS is mentioning about the storm we were talking about. Okay, let's see what they said because they just caught on. Well, I mean, they've been watching this, um, and so this is what they said. Radar update for Van Buren and Searcy County. Radar is showing a surge in eastern Johnson County, which is, yep, that's exactly what I thought. And if trends continue, then it may tap into those 0-3 kilometer vectors, which means low level shear. Which there is some low level shear there, and that's why there's that quick spin up tornado chance. It says, yeah. So they're basically stating that this line may be starting to intensify again. So, we're going to stay right on this. Now, Greg, let's get to your comment real quick. You've got plenty of storm fuel in the Faulkner County area. I think the thunder you're hearing is probably over here towards Centerville. And let me overlay the radar real quick on there. Yeah, so there's the line, the very strong line of thunderstorms. Got the severe thunderstorm warnings. And then, so yeah, it's coming. So just a heads up on that. Okay, let's go back to Skyscan Doppler. So we need to watch. Yeah, I don't like this. Starting to pick up a little bit to the south of Smyrna. Uh, yeah, that's exactly the area that I was watching just a second ago. All right. We're gonna stay right here on this. There's not enough rotation or anything like that to issue a tornado warning, so don't worry. But what I do see is that the line itself is starting to kink. There is some broad rotation starting to develop. So let's just see what the NWS does. They did mention it though. And so let's see. Okay, so they are Mm, just hang on, guys. I'm seeing things from the National Weather Service. They are talking about this storm. If it continues to trend, I'm not going to be surprised if they issue a tornado warning in the next little bit. And it'll be north of Hector. It'll be for this very storm right here. We've got questions coming, or not questions. We got comments. Somebody said it's really picking up in Whit Springs. Yeah, and that's going to continue. Whit Springs, Snowball, St. Joe, Gilbert. I think it's really going to increase. So we're watching multiple areas, but right now I'm watching right around the Smyrna area to the south of Smyrna, and I think for the most part this would be a damaging wind threat, but I just looking at the velocity scan, there's winds going towards the radar site and winds going away. And I think that there's some broad rotation with this. Again, I don't think it's enough to issue a tornado warning, at least not right now. But I would say if this continues to hold the scan or we continue to see this, uh, we could see a potential tornado warning. Now, again, I don't think this would be a long track tornado. I told you that I think that threat was going down. But what I did tell you was the threat for a quick spin up isolated tornado is certainly there. And I think that's what we are looking at with this. If they do issue a tornado warning on this particular storm, it's going to be for a quick spin up tornado, and it would include Van Buren County. But let's just hang on and watch and see what the NWS does. Raining real hard in Dongola. Thank you for that report. Um, Wind speed with the line. Most locations, Jason, moving at about 60 mile an hour or have 60 mile an hour wind gust. Let me look at the speed on these storms just to be exact here. Let's see what the NWS here does. Okay, these storms are actually moving at about 66 miles per hour to be exact. 59 KTS. So we are continuing to watch this. If you're just joining us, there's no tornado warning. There's just severe thunderstorm warnings. But we are watching a couple areas as this storm does progress east. We're starting to see maybe an uptick in the threat for damaging winds with this storm and potentially the threat for an isolated tornado or a quick spin up tornado is definitely increasing just a little bit to the north of Hector. And I'll tell you what, let's go to significant tornado parameters. Not seeing much of an uptick with that. But we do see what's going on radar. And I mean, it's weak, but the line is starting to kink and rotate just a tad bit. So we're going to continue to watch this. This is trending off to the east. And again, there's our sky cam. You see it on the live camera. We are seeing an uptick in lightning, which I fully expected that. So just waiting to see what the NWS does here. I have reason to believe that the environment that we're dealing with right now yeah, guys, that's starting to pick up rotation. Let's see what the next scan pulls up. Let's see what the next scan does. Uh, but I would not be surprised if to the south of Smyrna something starts to pick up a little bit here. Yeah, they're talking about it. NWS says seeing some rotation along the line just north of Hector. Yeah. So the NWS is seeing this. I would not be surprised if the next radar scan this gets a little bit tighter. So it's not just me noticing the rotation here. The National Weather Service is watching this very closely and does see some rotation. It's broad, but let's just see what they decide to do. They said they're starting to see some rotation. So it's not that it's been a persistent spin. But again, what did I tell you is that when you start seeing that rotation, it's this quick spin up threat tonight. So when you do see the rotation, If things continue to intensify just a little bit more, I fully anticipate we could see a tornado warning. I would not be surprised if we get a tornado warning for Van Buren County here in the next, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes ish. So let's just see what this does. It may start to decrease. It may start to kind of die down a little bit. But then again, there's always that chance it could intensify. And given that it's the storm motion of it would indicate the chance of it, the chance of it rotating would increase just a little bit. So let's just see what the NWS does. What I do want to tell you is I want to bring it to your attention. Anybody south of Smyrna, please just keep an eye on this. You don't got to take your tornado precautions, but just know that this storm is rotating. So just keep that in mind. Do we have more coming after this line? That's a great question, actually. One of the computer models actually brings in another line of thunderstorms in the middle of the night, early tomorrow morning. But I don't buy that. And I think that our storm fuel is really starting to fade away. And I don't see us gaining storm fuel anymore overnight because, well, the sun's going down. So, or the sun has went down. So personally, if we do see anything, I don't think it would be. I think this is going to zap most of our energy that we have right now. Yeah, I mean it's there. There's definitely some rotation here. You've even got a TVS marker, and so let's see what the NWS does with this. This is going to be tracking towards Van Buren County. I see people asking, is this going to miss Clinton? Guys, just hang on. It's going to take a little bit to identify that. I'm not safe to say Clinton's going to be missed in this. And regardless of this, there's still very strong winds moving through. So, Snowball, very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. Whit Springs, I think, yeah, right there, there's that wind. There's that wind potential. I think it's on the doorstep of Snowball over towards Whit Springs. And we got a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just been issued. Let's see if they went tornado possible with this storm. I'm real curious to know if they went tornado possible. I don't see the tag on there. But, yep, they did. Tornado possible tag. So they have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. Yep, there it is right there. And it does have a tornado possible tag attached to it. So no tornado warning, but it is possible. So you know what? Let's go ahead and just because we don't have a tornado warning here, but I think it's a good idea that if you're impacted by this storm, if you know anybody in this area, might be a good idea to start getting ready to take cover or heading to your safe place. Yeah, that's starting to really ramp up now. I'm not going to be surprised if we're fixing to see a tornado warning coming. I would not be surprised in the slightest. So I'm looking at this from another product. Let's go to Max Radar here and let's take a look at this. Lost Corner, anybody in Lost Corner, you need to go ahead and just take your tornado precautions. You're not under a tornado warning, but there's that rotation right there. It's broad, but it's rotating some. Okay, we've got a new tornado warning coming. New tornado warning is going to be coming for this area. So just be prepared. New tornado warning. It'll be for, I believe, northern Van Buren County. So stand by. Everybody's phones are fixing to go off. And we've been tracking this for the last 45 minutes. And this is a new tornado warning that is going to be coming for the Van Buren County area. So we're watching the storm very closely here. And I may have to transition. Oh, man. Every single storm I have to take cover. So, because it impacts the weather center. So, all right. So we're continuing to track this. There, yep, there's tornado warning right there. I mean, I'm right in the middle of this. Okay, so new tornado warning that is in effect for Van Buren County. Phones are going to start going off right now. Yep, there it is. This does not include, or it actually does. Sorry, I was going to say it doesn't, but Denard is technically included in this. According to the track of this is going to go between Clinton and Denard, which is exactly where the weather center is. So, new tornado warning that is in effect. The storm itself is on the Pope and Van Buren County line. The rotation is there. It's pretty persistent. We've been watching it over the last several scans. It's not that strong, but it's enough that they went ahead and issued the tornado warning. And I agree with this. So we're going to continue to watch this as this continues to trend east. And I'm hoping that maybe given the rain out ahead of it, that this might start to fade away. But this is something you need to know. Since we do have rain ahead of it, more than likely this would be rain wrapped. So if it was to try to produce anything, it would be almost impossible to see. And again, you're going to have to rely on lightning to see this. So please don't go outside looking for this storm. Be aware that you are under a tornado warning. So again, new tornado warning is in effect for Van Buren County. This does include Clinton, Denard, and Botkenberg. And we're going to get some better cities here in just a second. Let's go max for a moment and we'll take a look at this. And yeah, I mean, there's that rotation. It's certainly there. It's not all that strong, but it's enough that they went ahead and issued a tornado warning. And I think that was a great decision by the National Weather Service. So what are some areas that's going to be impacted? Well, we've got Rocky Hill in the tornado warning, Copeland, Robert, anybody in Rex towards Dabney, Zion Hill, Lost Corner, Smyrna, guys, get in your safe place. Crabtree, Walnut Grove, over towards Copeland, Woolham, Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, Clinton. I think this is going to miss Clinton, but you might as well go ahead, take your tornado precautions right now. Go ahead. PD, you are in the warning. Shirley, you're in it. Fairfield Bay, you're also in it. Old Lexington, you're in the tornado warning. This also includes as you get more towards Stone County. We've got Fox, Rushing, Turkey Creek, Half Moon. Again, Denard, Rocky Hill, those areas are included in this tornado warning. We're continuing to watch this very closely. Let's go back to Skyscan Doppler. And there it is. You can see the rotation, and it's still there. Again, it's not that strong, but it's enough that we're seeing that rotation there. Let me look at coalition coefficient. Not seeing anything in the way of any kind of debris being lofted, so that's good news. But what we can see is that the rotation is certainly still present, and it's enough to continue this tornado warning. So we're watching this very closely. It's on the leading edge of this line. This line is going to be moving to the east, and this is what I was telling you guys. This is the particular storm that we needed to be watching here. So fire radio warning us now. Yep, they're paging stuff out. My phone is blowing up. My watch is going crazy right now too. So if you know anybody in these areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions. Let's go ahead. We'll get a better idea of where and I'm going to be transitioning to the safe room here in a little bit, but I want to stay on this as long as I can. If there's going to be a tornado, it's going to be between Lost Corner and Dabney, up towards Zion Hill. Those areas need to be taking their tornado precautions. If we zoom in and specifically get some better locations, let's see. So that's Oak Mountain. And let me zoom in and see if I can get a road here. So Dabney Road. Anybody in Dabney Road needs to be in their safe place. Dabney Road connects to Hatley Mountain Road. I believe I'm saying that right. Over towards Oak Mountain. So Oak Mountain over towards, I believe that's Snow Lick Mountain. That is the area of circulation, and it's between Dabney and Lost Corner. Again, it's weak rotation, but it's certainly enough to issue a tornado warning. And at any moment, this could drop a tornado. We could have a tornado on the ground. It's hard to tell because, well, it's nighttime, and so we have no way of knowing if this is on the ground or not. I don't see anything in the way of coalition coefficient, so that's that's good, but hang on one second. Let's see what the NWS is thinking on this. Um, Continuing to watch this storm very closely. Looking at what I'm seeing right now on the newest scan, it does appear to be weakening some, so that's great news. But we're going to continue to watch this. I certainly think there's enough rotation here to continue with the tornado warning. I do think, though, the area of concern uh, that's still pretty defined. There may be, all right, let me show you what I'm talking about here. There may be two areas of rotation. So what you've got is you've got that which prompted the warning, but now you've got an area south of that that's rotating. And that's actually taking more of the, and that would be tracking right towards Clinton if that holds together. So I think you've got actually two areas that are trying to rotate. And I think the northern part of the storm may be weakening some, and the southern part of the storm may be starting to crank up in rotation. So Clinton, you're not out of the woods by any means. You need to be in your safe place right now. So if you know anybody in these areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions. I'm going to stay on as long as I can here. Radar will continue to stay on, but just know I will be switching from my this to my laptop. So it'll be a minute for the switch, but it'll happen and it'll be quick. So because I do need to take cover when, like, I mean, this is a direct path towards the weather center. So we're gonna stay on this storm though as long as we can. So you've got Scotland. You're not in the warning, but just keep an eye on this storm. It does look like, according to what I'm seeing and the latest radar scan, it does appear, it's more looking more linear, but there's certainly still some rotation there. I think the strongest part of the rotation is going to be to the northwest of Scotland. That appears to be the area of concern that I'm watching very closely here. If we go to our velocity scan, yeah, I mean, there's still rotation here. And if we go to max, let's go max, and we'll take a look at that. You can see Dabney over towards Lost Corner, Austin. The area of circulation would be between Zion Hill, Dabney, over towards Rex. Those areas, and especially if I zoom in, the rotation is not that defined, but I really think right on the doorstep of Dabney, this thing is rotating still. It's weaker, but I think there's enough rotation here that they'll continue this tornado warning. So we're continuing to watch this very closely here. So we're watching this. We're going to continue to track this. This is moving off to the east here, and we've got a lot of comments coming in, guys. I cannot take a look at comments right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the Skycam off because it's not doing us any good right now. Um, so all right, so we're continuing to watch this storm. Let's continue to watch this. Um, I'm gonna give it just a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna be switching from this to my laptop. So just hang tight for a minute, guys. Got to set up something real quick. I just want to be ready to go. That way, if anything happens, we are good to go and continue to stay live. Regardless, we will continue to stay live. You will continue to see the live stream, but I'm going to have to take cover. So I have no choice, but I am going to have to take cover. So let's continue to watch this very closely here. This is the area of rotation, circulation. It's going to be over or just to the north of Scotland. And, it's not that defined, but it's enough that there is still concern. Yeah, it's really starting. Well, let's see. To the north of Scotland. North of Scotland, that appears to be the area that's strongest with rotation here. We're going to continue to watch this very closely. I don't see any signs that it's on the ground, but I just don't like the look of it. The radar scan's not coming in very good, but this when you see this, this reminds me of things uh of previous tornadoes. So when I see this kind of a scan, it just kind of makes me think. But give me a moment, guys. We'll be back. Okay, we will be back. So just hang tight with us, and I'll be back with the coverage. Stay live. Stay right here. Radar's is going to stay on, and you guys will be able to see this. I'm gonna do a dual panel here, where you guys can see reflectivity and velocity. You'll be able to see both. You'll be able to see where everything is as this storm continues to progress east. I'll be back here in just a moment. Stay on. Be honest, probably no. I'm sure sleep more. All right, we are coming back into the action here. I am switching gears just a second. Hopefully, we are still up um, with this live coverage. Let's continue this tornado warning that is currently in effect for northern Van Buren County. Um, the rotation It's still definitely present. I think anybody in Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, again, even Denard. I know Denard's technically not in the warning, but I would go ahead and just take your safe place and go to the safe place just to be safe here with this storm. I mean, it's right on the doorstep of Botkenberg and heading towards this direction. Let me know. Is the audio good? Okay, good. Okay, I'm just checking, making sure the audio is good. So anybody, and you look at the velocity scan, and it's hard to tell, but I think we're getting some bad radar reads with this. But I see looking at NROT, and if we go, I tell you what, let's go back one panel here. If we continue on with the NROT, we'll see where the rotation is. I think some of that is straight line winds, but I certainly think there's some rotation embedded with this, especially as it moves east and the direction that it's moving. I don't see any signs that anything's on the ground right now, but it's nighttime. It's going to be almost impossible to see anything or hear. So reports that we get will be delayed and it will be after the fact. So if you know anybody in the Clinton Botkenberg area. And I tell you what, we'll go ahead and we'll switch to let me go to Max for a second and take a look at that. So area of circulation, and Thunder's rolling here a little bit here at the Weather Center. See, there's still some rotation there. It's between Robert and Copeland over towards Crabtree. And that's why I said Rocky Hill, Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, Denard, Plant, Old Lexington, PD, Clinton. Those areas need to be taking their tornado precautions. That appears to be the area that is going to be or has the highest chance of being impacted. Now, I think something to note, and if we go back to our reflectivity, you'll see heavy rain fixing to move in the Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg area. So why is that so important? Well, if you go outside and try to see this, if it's on the ground, it's going to be rain wrapped. You're not going to be able to see it. Your visibility is going to be cut. So make sure you're not going out trying to see this storm. Make sure you're sheltering in place and keeping a very close eye on it. Newest scan, yeah, definitely still showing that rotation headed right for Old Botkenberg. Um, this is not something you want to see because you can definitely tell that the storm itself is definitely still rotating. Switching gears just for a moment. I am in my safe location and transitioning towards that direction, but it definitely appears that we are seeing an uptick in the rotation associated with this storm. So we're continuing to watch this, but it's going to be between Copeland and Crabtree. That's the area that needs to be watching this storm. But Old Botkenberg to Botkenberg, you guys need to be in your safe place immediately. Anybody Plant, Old Lexington, Half Moon, Shirley PD, you need to be taking your tornado precautions early. Technically, if you're in Old Lexington, Shirley, the storm is to your west, but it's a good idea to go ahead and take your safe place. So we are in direct path of this here at the Weather Center. And so we're going to continue to watch this storm very closely. The next one or two radar scans, let's see how rotation's trending. But I still see rotation from Copeland down to Crabtree. That area right there, and that's a highway specifically. That's Highway 16. So that Highway 16 right there, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. You know anybody from Copeland down to Crabtree, those areas, again, take their tornado precautions. Again, this is headed direct path to Old Botkenberg, which it's going to be a direct path right to the Weather Center. So waiting to see what this is going to do. We are safe. We're ready to go. But there, you won't be able to get visual with this because there's so much heavy rain ahead of it. And so if there is going to be a tornado, you're not going to be able to see it going outside, looking for that visible sign. You won't see it. This is something you're going to have to rely on radar data to show us where this storm would be. So we're continuing to watch this very closely. Copeland down to Crabtree. Again, Old Botkenberg, this area right there. Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, known for tornadoes, known for this track. Please be in your safe place immediately. We're waiting on a new radar scan fixing to come through, but the area of concern is right over Highway 16 between Copeland and Crabtree. That's moving off to the east. Let's wait. We're fixing to get a new radar scan here in just a second. Anytime now, we should get a new radar scan. Did the lights just blink? No, the lights did not just blink. Okay, good. Uh, we are definitely seeing an uptick in the rotation here. I'm watching this on the NROT. You guys can't see that, but I'm serious. If you know anybody in these areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions. We could have a tornado drop anytime at this point. Rotation's really starting to ramp up even more than what we were seeing, and it was strong rotation just a minute ago. Yeah, I'm getting texts too about it. Yeah. We're continuing to watch this very closely. Lightning is on the increase here at the Weather Center. We can see that. Copeland down to Crabtree. Again, that is the area of concern, but this is headed directly towards Old Botkenberg. This is direct path of the Weather Center. So if you know anybody that lives near the Weather Center, if you know where that is, or if you know where the Weather Center is and you're close to that, you need to be in your safe place right now. Oh, I thought we lost power. That scared me. Whoa, yeah. We got a lot of lightning guys here. If we we have a lot of lightning here. And it's definitely storming. The storm potential is increasing. So these storms are very electrified. We've got the energy we need. Keep in mind, if we lose power, then just hang tight with us. Try to go live with my phone as best I can. We're still on at the Weather Center right now, but there's always that chance we lose power. We've had a tendency to do that, and so you will lose the live stream, unfortunately. But I know there's numerous news crews that are covering this, so you can go ahead and tune in there. And we're actually in the storm itself. This is going to be moving off to the east. Lightning is getting really fierce here. We're starting to see a real big uptick in lightning. We still have power right now, but I'm serious. Anybody Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg needs to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. Plant, Old Lexington, Shirley, PD, those areas need to be taking their tornado precautions. We just got a new scan coming in here, and this is on the doorstep of Old Botkenberg right now. This is Botkenberg to Old Botkenberg. We are ready to step right. I mean, we've got the safe place right here. So don't worry, guys. We are safe. We are in a good location, but I'm just telling you that in terms of where we are, in terms of this storm, it is right on the doorstep of us. I'm not seeing anything visibly outside, but again, what did I tell you? It's going to be rain wrapped. If there's going to be a tornado, it's going to be rain wrapped and it's going to be on your doorstep before you realize it. So we're continuing to track this. And if you're just joining us, the area of circulation is now moving from Copeland, Crabtree. You're no longer, the area of concern has actually moved to your east now, but still stay in your safe place because we know storms change directions pretty rapidly. But we are continuing to track this tornado warning storm. This technically does not include Rocky Hill anymore. That's no longer included. Woolham, Chimes, you're clear. You guys are good. The main focus right now, and I'm telling you, is Botkenberg to Old Botkenberg. And we know the area. We know it's known for tornadoes. So if you know anybody, Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, I think the storm itself is gonna miss Clinton. It's gonna go to the north of Clinton. But this is something we're going to continue to watch. And, there's a lot of people messaging me. We're good. We are good. We're safe right now. We're just keeping an eye on this weather. It's very calm outside right now. Not seeing much wind. The lightning is kind of faded away as of right now. So when you're dealing with storms and things start to calm down, that's not something you want to see. You don't want things to become calm because then they start to really ramp up all at once. And so, but I'm hoping that maybe it's just the storm is falling apart. That's what I hope. But I know looking at radar, there is still, and looking at the velocity scan, there's still rotation between Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, over on, I would say this is going to be over us in the next 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to give you a firsthand report of what this storm is doing. And at any moment, I could say, gotta go and jump off here. So just keep that in mind. But we're continuing, they're continuing this tornado warning. The rotation again is between Botkenberg and Old Botkenberg. Lightning's really fierce. Again, it's picking up. The wind is starting to really pick up now too. I'm noticing we're seeing off in the distance a lot of trees. Yeah, a lot of wind energy here. Things are really starting to pick up. We're going to be in the middle of the storm here in the next, like I said, 5 minutes. It's going to be right over us. So just keep in mind, everybody that's here, just a heads up. Um, just keep an eye on this. So it's starting to pick up a little bit in intensity here at the Weather Center. We can hear it. The winds are definitely hitting side of the house, but we're good. We still got power. Things are okay. But the lightning again is fierce. So regardless of the tornado threat with this, regardless of the damaging wind threat, there is still a lightning threat with this, a pretty strong lightning. There's a lot of lightning bolts around here. But again, if you know anybody in these areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions. I'm waiting on a new update. That was a very close strike. Just a second ago, I saw that from the corner of my eye here. We're waiting on more radar updates here. If we look at, guys, this is going to be right over us in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, the wind, I tried to open the front door.
Winds are really starting to pick up. Yeah. So let's continue to watch this. Lightning's picking up here. Okay. Guys, the winds are really starting to ramp up. The winds are really starting to ramp up here at the Weather Center, and lightning is too. Something just got struck close by. We still have power, but something was just hit because you could see that bolt. I'm thinking it may have just hit in the church parking lot. I'm not entirely sure. We're really starting to see a ramp up in intensity here with this storm. So we need to be prepared. Things are, yeah, it's right on our doorstep, guys. It's right on our doorstep. We are here in the middle of the storm, guys. We're live on Facebook. Okay, we need to be transitioning safe location right now. We need to be transitioning to the safe location right now. Everybody get ready. Just get ready. Lightning is increasing here, but we're still live. We're still continuing to track this. Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, right on the doorstep. It's right here, guys. I can give you a firsthand report. We are definitely getting some very,